Welcome to the Women in Leadership Body, Mind, Soul, and Business podcast. I'm Charlie.
And I'm Heather. And together we are working to connect women in leadership and business, empowering each other, improving the health and wellness of our community, body, soul, and mind, connecting to the heart and soul of who we are and what we do.
It's Mindset Monday!
Woo! Monday!
You guys know this is our favorite day of the
Good
week to get things
morning.
going in a positive direction with a positive mindset. And we are on the last chapters of the Path of the Yoga Sutras and 52 Small Changes for the Mind this week.
Woot, woot.
Which
I'm so proud of us.
Me too.
Do you guys see that? Like, I know that if you're listening, you know, these are pretty good sized books, and we just went through them with you guys
over the course of the last year.
Yeah. Just one chapter a week. That's pretty cool.
It's been a commitment for sure, but it's been super awesome for growth. And I hope you guys have enjoyed that too. For our next season to wrap up through the end of the year, we're going to do the 4 agreements and the 4 agreements companion books.
So we're going to dive deep into the 4 agreements and the Toltec wisdom.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to hawk and really get in there even deeper.
Dig in
as we move into the end of the year.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
It's pretty cool.
So
this week, from the Path of the Yoga Sutras by Nikolai Bachman, our sutra topic this week is KAIVALYA, or permanent oneness.
And for 52 small changes for the mind by Brett Blumenthal, we have a generous spirit. What we have done for ourselves alone dies with us. What we have done for others and the world remains and is immortal.
I think we should talk about having a generous spirit before we get into the permanent oneness.
Okay, I think that's a great idea.
Okay,
all right,
we're gonna go for it.
So why is it important for us to have a generous spirit? So giving of your time, energy, and money has power to increase happiness and reduce the risk of depression. It decreases stress and it strengthens relationships. So if you can cultivate a generous spirit in your family, with the kids, all of the things, right? What happens is that we are biologically wired that when we are feeling generous and having generous spirit to be happier. So it releases the happy hormones. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So the act of being generous has chemical and biological changes within your body that are good for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is something you can do.
So being generous and usually that involves helping other people, has just a profound effect on your own psyche and biology as it may on the person who's receiving the gift of that generosity.
Right.
Isn't that cool?
So it affects them and it effects us. Is that right? Like the effect effect, like wow.
Yeah, it's that oh gosh, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. It's science, right? So when we are giving to others, that doesn't mean that we are giving something away of ourselves. It just means that we are also receiving, but in a different way.
Yes.
Pretty cool.
Actually, it's good for us.
It's good for us
to be generous. Wow. That's powerful in and of itself. So how can we cultivate more of that? So that's the next part here. So remembering when. So this is really great to remember, like when we do our meditations and things, we talk about your brain like doesn't know the difference between being there and practicing being there. So if you're practicing going back to a time when you were generous, you're cultivating that. And then you can think of more new ways to to be generous in the present.
When you recall those memories of being generous, you can feel that like little flutter in your heart mind, that feels good, right? Feel how that, like, really pay attention to how that feels in your body. Like, oh, I remember this time when I did this thing for someone else, and feel how that feels in your body. It's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
It is
And
pretty
then that awareness, you want to bring that to the new situations.
There's a TikTok going around right now about like giving yourself a little dose of serotonin. That's kind of what I just thought of.
Dose of serotonin.
That
Nice.
That generosity, those memories of being generous, how that cultivates that serotonin.
Yes. Start at home. Many people in our lives can use warmth and compassion and generosity. And I think this is important too, because sometimes when we're at home, these are the people we're most comfortable with. So they see all sides of us. So remember that you want to feel generous at home. So that cultivating that, and then helping others in your circle cultivate that.
Right.
Because we learned that for every one woman we help, we're helping 5 other people.
Yeah.
Because we affect each other.
We do.
That's pretty cool.
It is very cool.
So be proactive. The best way to show love and generosity is through your actions, allowing, telling someone you support them or love them. Is great first step to show them that you mean, show them
appreciation. Being like, hey, I just wanted to let you know that you're doing an amazing job, and I'm really proud of you.
I was thinking of the day like that we were in the line at the coffee shop, and
wow, that airplane must be really low over my house right now.
No, we don't live near an Air Force base, naval base. Okay.
Let's go back. I'll cut it out.
Hippopotamus. So I remember the day that we were in line at the coffee stand, and we could see the gal was just on the verge of like tears. Like she was not in a good spot. Like, but then we just like complimented her outfit and gave her a couple of, little, you look good, wow, it's super cute. Your hair is adorable. I don't remember what we said.
I don't
at all, but instantly her whole mood and energy shifted.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
It took her right out of that panic. That almost losing my mind moment. And she,
and we don't know if the person before us or a couple of people before us were awful to her, and that's why she was just on the verge of tears,
or whatever was happening in her personal, it could have been anything.
You can be generous with your kindness, with your words.
So you can be proactive. Surround yourself, and I think we do a lot of this in our group. That's so cool.
Surround yourself with other generous spirits.
Yes.
Kindness is contagious.
It is. And working together on like compassion projects and things like that's important. Volunteer with passion. If you have time, and most of us do, I don't think we have any more time. But life lets me know that you all of a sudden more time. But there's ways to give in volunteerism, and that's a lot of what we do with our podcast, and a lot of what we do with our cause of the quarter, right? These are ways that we're giving back, and we're making sure that we're giving in our community as entrepreneurs. Accepting generosity.
Oh, this is the hardest part. It is so hard for us to accept generosity from others, but I feel it's really important.
It's just important as giving it is to be able to feel it when it's given back to you. When you feel yourself resistant to help or to the help of others or the generosity of others, remind yourself how it makes you feel when you help someone. And remember that others feel the same way when they help you. Be open to the generosity of others and allow them to give you the support or help you need when you need it. Goosebumps.
Accept that generosity. You might not feel like you need it,
Or you might judge yourself because,
or
which is, we're going to talk about that here
yeah.
coming up. But I think a lot of times we are judging ourselves when we need help
Mhm.
and we ask for it because I shouldn't have to ask for help. And then we're shitting ourselves, right?
Mhm. Or you feel guilty.
Yeah.
Or no guilt, no shame, no
No
shoulds.
shoulds. No
Okay.
justing. All right.
KAIVALYA, permanent oneness.
Ooh.
The quote this week is, "This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine."
Do I get to sing again?
Harry
This
Dixon
little light
Lowes.
of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.
Everybody knows the words, right?
Right?
We've all heard it growing up, whether we've been grew up in a church or not,
right? You should know this song.
But take a step back and think from an open perspective, a non-religious perspective, on how you can shine your light into the world. Okay, because
and you think about it, because I always visualized it too. We would sing it like a candlelight visuals, right? Like we have the little candlelight. But if you're a little candle, it's really cool. If you've never been to a candlelight vigil of any kind, sometimes they have them like around Christmas time, and everybody gets a candle. And you think about the actual, my heart centers live in this. Your light compared with your light, and we all are shining together. How bright is that going to be?
I was at this networking training event one time, and the speaker he's amazing and he's super attractive, right? But he did this he was the speaker for like the whole week, and but he did this whole thing with candles. Everybody got a candle, and he started with and he had everybody stand in a big circle in the middle of the room, move all the chairs and tables out of the way, and he stood in the middle with a candle, and he started his teaching. And
you've talked about this before.
And then he reached out and lit one person's candle, and he said something positive to them, specifically them, like looked them in the eyes. And he did this with several people through the room, and then we were to turn around and then do like 5 more people each, right? And so from one little light of generous awareness of kindness and how it spread, that room was so dark with just that one little flame in the middle, and it was so bright, and we were all in tears because it was very powerful. When we wrapped up and then the lights went back on, and we blew our candles out because we're in a hotel.
Oh, that's probably good. I've been to the ones too where you go then and you put it like somewhere safe, like there's like a sand or a thing that you go put the candle in at the end, so everyone's candles are burning in one spot, like, and it creates this really cool glow in the dark. It is
really cool.
Yeah.
So the culmination of yoga practice occurs when our heart mind is completely pure and our buttons are gone. How many of us are like, you're pushing my buttons? What button is that? What is triggering you?
Yeah.
What is that button?
I mean, isn't that the goal?
That's been a year
to not have
what these
any
buttons
I think the best that we can do every day is have awareness around our buttons. So I'm excited that there's the more they're pushed, right? Like the more their battery wears out if you don't engage it,
right?
If you don't send electricity to it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pay it no mind.
I love that.
Pay it no mind.
Ah,
This state of equanimity is a lofty goal that few attain. Yet, even in the very likely event that this goal is never reached, engaging in the practices of yoga will improve your life immensely. It's more about the means than the end, the journey rather than the goal. Why not aim high and enjoy the benefits of moving toward that goal? Why not?
Take the journey.
Take the
Make it
journey.
about the journey.
KAIVALYA literally means aloneness and is the final state of emancipation where we are not affected by any conditioning in our heart mind whatsoever. This is where we've broken all those agreements that society placed on us.
So we domesticate ourselves.
We de-domesticated ourselves because we did the work to find out what is true for us.
Ooh.
Right? We broke those agreements, which we'll get into the 4 agreements.
No, anybody rocking right now?
Yeah.
What are you doing to me, Charlie?
The inner light of awareness shines right through our consciousness to illuminate the world around us, turning any action into a selfless, compassionate offering to that awareness. One of the things that came up for me while reading this chapter was that I can think of actual real humans that I feel have attained Cavalia. And the number one for me that came up was like Mother Teresa. She passes
that servant heart, that like just purely here to serve.
So some English words and phrases that may reflect some characteristics of KAIVALYA, because KAIVALYA is such a complicated translation.
Right.
So some English words that reflect some of those characteristics are permanent oneness, quiet simplicity, conscious isolation, emancipation, freedom, liberation, and enlightenment.
Conscious isolation.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? Because we don't talk about that very often, about being able to sit in the calm, and how when we do that and we're able to be calm, we actually can, that's how, when we process our triggers, right?
Now this might sound somewhat familiar to a lot of you out there. As our heart mind clears, it returns back to its true nature of sattva, exhibiting all positive qualities such as virtue, nonviolence, kindness, and compassion. When I read that, I thought of that old verse, love is patient, love is kind, love does not envy, love does not boast.
It's in 1 Corinthians, yeah.
Yeah. Pretty cool, right? It's all the same idea.
Right. And when you, I mean, because I didn't know, but I was basically meditating on that, right? These are the things that I want to be, that I want to come from love, and I want to be, meditating on that verse growing up, like that really resonated with me. And I think
love is patient, love is kind, love does not envy. And you can ask yourself these questions. Am I patient? Am I kind? Do I envy? Do I boast? And those things will help you get some of those buttons work done, right? There have been accounts of people considered to be enlightened. It is important to distinguish between a person who teaches about spirituality and one who has attained KAIVALYA. Many teachers well-versed in the ancient scriptures can transfix an audience with their knowledge and charisma, yet behind the scenes, they act unethically. A truly enlightened being will have no interest in power, money, or fame. With a healthy ego, he or she will treat all others equally and will never abuse the sacred relationship with his or her followers. Again, they're not looking for power, money, or fame. Sitting in the presence of this person calms and quiets us, and asking questions seems pointless. He or she is like a clear mirror that shows us exactly who we are.
And not in a mean or judgmental
No.
way. This isn't like, you're blah, blah, blah. That's not what we're talking about.
No.
This is like, you're just know, like, you're
Yeah.
calm and like you just feel better.
Yeah.
And you just access your heart.
I think Mother Teresa, Gandhi.
Yeah. Just being a gift to the world.
Yeah. Without anything in return.
So what are some of the practices to help us get there? Because that's a really lofty goal. So how do we practice adding the ability to be in our lives?
Okay, well, let's go over the thoughts this week.
Okay.
I look forward to spending time alone with myself.
Do you look forward to spending time alone with yourself? I know that I didn't used to at all.
It takes practice.
That voice in my head was not somebody I wanted to listen to.
Right.
Like screaming at me. Right? I wasn't listening to myself.
So do you look forward to spending time alone with yourself? Right. I strive for a quiet, content heart mind that enjoys moments of solitude. One of my favorite things around my house here is the view from my back porch, which is just like the trees in the forest.
The sun glistens through the leaves.
Yeah, the way the sunlight shines through the trees and stuff, and the rays of sunlight.
And now the leaves are changing.
It's gorgeous. It's my favorite place. And when I have the opportunity to just sit and be, I just sit and be. And it has had to come.
You even put your meditation chair by the window so you can look out at different trees.
Like if the weather's nasty, I could still sit inside and look outside. Yeah. I think for the next few readings anyway, I am gonna try to set up by the window in the living room so that I can share my trees with you guys.
Oh, that's cool.
Anyway, our third thought this week is realizing that everything changes over time gives me a sense of non-attachment and freedom from the external world.
Everything changes over time, even though this moment may feel overwhelming or this moment is super joyful. It's not going to always be one thing.
Yep.
I think that sometimes we think that to be happy and joyful, it's like going to be a constant thing, but you still have to cultivate it when you get there, right? You're still going to cultivate your joy. You're still going to cultivate these things because it's practice.
And fall is a beautiful reminder that everything changes.
One more time.
Fall is a beautiful reminder that everything changes.
I love that so much, Charlie.
Exercises this week. Sit quietly and contemplate the purpose of seeking the extraordinary. Is it your ego that seeks this? How will seeking the extraordinary help you be content? If you can be happy with only yourself, see if you can be happy with only yourself and nothing else. Can you be happy with just yourself? Think about what you are seeking. If it is on the outside, are you attached to it? Maybe it is a spiritual teacher who directs you inward. If so, when this teacher dies, will you mourn his outer form or continue your journey inward, meeting the teacher's essence anytime you wish?
I hope that you would honor your energy of the teacher, right? That you would spend time. That you wouldn't just be like, oh, they're dead, bye.
Right. And sometimes the teacher is your inner knowing, your inner self. So spending time with yourself can be very therapeutic in many ways. And the last exercise this week is the big question. Are you comfortable being alone? And if not, why? Bam.
Boom.
That wraps up.
And that's a wrap, folks.
Half the Yoga Sutras and 52 small changes for the mind. Next series is the 4 Agreements.
And the 4 Agreements companion book, because we're gonna dive deep.
We're gonna dig deep. And you can find your own copies of these books on our website at www.womeninleadershipbsmb.com. And just remember,
you are already valid. You are already enough. You are already amazing.
We'll see you next time.
Namaste. Mwah!
As entrepreneurs, we feel it is our duty to give. This quarter's cause of the quarter is the Tears Foundation. The Tears Foundation seeks to compassionately lift a financial burden from families who have lost a child by providing funds to assist with the cost of burial or cremation services. They also offer parents comprehensive bereavement care in the form of grief support groups and peer companions. To find out more or to donate today, go to thetearsfoundation.org. Thank you for joining us today on the Women in Leadership Body, Soul, Mind, and Business podcast. Please download the podcast on your favorite podcast player. We love you, and we will see you next time. Namaste.